Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
Here we go with that Monday KVJ After the Show podcast. What is up, everybody? Here we go, another week. Yeah, Virginia is still riding high from that Saints win from yesterday. Mm-hmm.
Very, very fun to win.
I saw you taunting people on social media.
No, I didn't.
You were throwing up beads, and you guys are doing your whole New Orleans thing at your house.
After they won.
That's taunting, yeah.
No, it's just celebrating.
Oh, is that what it was?
I try not to taunt. I try not to be ugly because as much as you win, you could just as soon lose. And you don't want anybody taunting you when you lose. So unless somebody really comes hard for me, I try not to be mean about the sports thing.
Really? Okay. All right.
If you come for me, though, you better pack a lunch.
Okay.
Kevin sounds surprised.
Yeah.
And I'm with Kevin.
Okay.
What?
Before the game, you will never see my Twitter or anything going, oh, Eagles suck, oh, fuck the Eagles. Like, no, I would never do that.
No, but there's other forms of taunting. Just because you don't have to just drop an F-bomb for it to be taunting. Look, I'm not trying to get into a fight with you, Mama. If you're saying you're not taunting, you're not taunting.
I don't taunt because I think it's bad juju.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, there you go. That's Virginia's philosophy on.
You got to just cheer for your team to do well.
Yeah, I am very annoyed and put off, and every fan base has a-hole fans, and not one fan base is exempt. And
sure.
I hate when I support a team, and probably the one I'm rooted in with the most is the Ohio State Buckeyes. I hate when I see people who are Buckeye fans being tools, and you're just like, stop it. It's just like it because everybody then gets that bad blanket rap. I don't ever like being associated with other people's bad behavior, and it's like I inherit somebody else being a douchebag.
Lift up your team. Talk about your team. You know, put videos out of your team doing amazing.
Be a good sport.
You don't have to drag somebody else down for your team to win.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I just, to me, it's like just go out there. The best way, just go out there and beat somebody soundly.
Be Drew Brees. Yeah. Don't be Cam Newton.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you go to games, and like that's tough for me. Like sitting next to somebody that is
suck guys.
I don't go. I don't go to away games. I just don't.
Where they're just taunting the whole time.
No, it's like, for instance, you can even be sitting by somebody. I was at a basketball game on Saturday, and the guy that was sitting in front of me was like one of those guys, like, yeah, come on, Blue, like, whoa, like, come on, Zebras, like, you got to get that call right. Like, he's just everything. He's just like he's part, and he's right on the floor of the. And he's almost like he's part of the game, and I'm just like, all right, bring it down.
He's not part of the game.
Yeah.
Dude, come on. The Zebras aren't listening to you.
He so quickly has a comment about everything that's going on, and pretty much most of the comments were wrong anyway on top of it, and so you're just like, oh, my gosh. Yeah, so that's something.
Sports can bring out the best. It can bring out the worst as well.
True.
Yeah, you're right. It really depends. So is humanity, the good and the bad.
That's probably why people like sports, because it really is a lot like life. It brings out the good. It brings out the bad. It brings out the fucking ugly.
Damn, the bird got deep.
I did.
It does. That's what it is. It's a microcosm of life. The struggle.
All over New Orleans last night after the Saints won, people just started parading in the streets. Mm-hmm. They pulled out their musical instruments and just started parades.
That's when it's the best.
Yeah, see,
that's cool, and that's why sports are awesome, because what else do you have in a city that unites everyone commonly other than sports?
You're right.
I mean, that's the way it is. Yeah, when you have something like that and you're all on the same team, it totally does. It cinches up a community, which is awesome. That's why I love sports.
They said my brother-in-law.
Right.
My brother-in-law was telling me too, like the crime rate goes down drastically in New Orleans during a Saints game.
Yeah, everybody's watching a game. That's cool. That's the way it should be.
That's a cool stat.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm. Everybody's occupied. Yoli on our Facebook said, first time I've been watching you guys live. I always wondered what you guys did doing commercial. You don't talk to each other during the breaks. It seems as if you guys don't like each other.
This shit again? Sometimes we do talk with each other. So I've been working on other stuff for work during the break, so I've been very quiet. If I'm not working on something, I will be up Virginia and Kevin's ass talking.
But it's Monday too. Like maybe like more on a Friday, we'll be talking and joking around more. Like everybody's like, oh, it's Monday.
Well, Kevin doesn't usually talk during a commercial break. I will still try to talk to Kevin sometimes, and I always have a knack. I'll ask Kevin a question, and he has to do a live commercial in 5 seconds. So Kevin's not going to talk anyway. If I'm the one not talking, I find that the studio is quiet because I generate a lot of conversation in commercial. I'm probably really fucking annoying, I'd imagine.
No.
But yeah,
a little. Just kidding. Just kidding.
But yes, we like each other. Quit trying to tear us apart.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I can't. Yeah, I don't have time. I mean, when I'm in here, it's like, yeah, you have live commercials, but then I'm always looking to say, okay. I mean, a lot of the show, it's fluid with what we do. It's not like everything is scripted out and it's planned out and I hand you guys sheets and be like, after this, we're going to talk to that. I have a loose idea, but I'm always throughout the whole show changing, adapting, editing. I'm pulling comments, reading everything from the chat rooms to what's happening with text coming in. And I'm also looking at news stories, say, okay, did something break while we were doing the show? And then I want to try to, pull the brakes and get onto that. So, yeah, I'm always, that's time for me to kind of like make those judgment calls. And, you guys will be talking sometimes and I keep my headphones in because if not, then I'm easily distracted. I got to keep focused. If not, we come back and I'm like, hey, what are we doing?
No, I've caused Kevin to mess up several times because I asked him some deep question. He starts to answer me and then all of a sudden, oh, shit, I got to go back.
Kevin will be trying to work and I'll be like, no, Kevin, I got to tell you something important. What do you think about the Rams?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's it. No, there's nothing but love, and it's all good. But yeah, and then when we chill out, we're kind of like hanging out. We have a great time. We talk a lot. But we're just busy.
There's some shows too where me and Virginia are talking a lot with each other. It just really kind of depends on if we're working on something during a commercial.
The more we're drinking, the more we're talking.
Oh, if I'm drinking, I ain't working.
Yeah, so that's just kind of the nature of what we got to do to do the show, but you can see what it looks like. Yeah, and I'm always reading, scanning, editing.
But every time we're quiet, someone's saying, you guys don't like each other.
Yeah.
Why so cold?
No, the show would be, if I did anything other than doing what I'm doing, the show would be all over the place. Like, you'd be like, oh, what a mess. I am very easily distracted. Sherry sent an email, said, since you guys, or Kevin, since you may have been a drug kingpin in your past life, you might enjoy the new docuseries on Netflix called Dope. It focuses on 3 different perspectives that revolve around drugs within different states. It shows the perspective of law enforcement, the dealers, and the users. I highly recommend.
Huh.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm very fascinated by drugs. I really am, and everything that kind of goes into it, and even the reason why people choose to do drugs and this song and dance we have about trying to outlaw, it's a weird, to me, just looking at it, it's a weird thing in our society.
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating because some people really believe that they have to take some kind of stimulant or drug just to enjoy life, and some people are so against it. It's interesting to see the perspective on that.
It is how it affects human beings, why people decide to do it, how we regulate it the way we do, the problems that comes from it.
Your boy Jack White talked about he's straight edge. He doesn't drink or smoke or do anything.
Yeah.
And he talks about writing music from that sober perspective. And he says when you take something, drinking or a drug, and then you write, it's not real. It's not coming from that same place. You're altering your state.
Yeah.
And then other people are like, fuck Jack White. He doesn't know. Don't tell him how to write my music.
It's not true to your heart. Yeah, well, what is interesting to me, and on that with musicians using drugs, and some of them have been from both sides. Some of them say that it opens up the creativity and knocks down my inhibitions, and others, it creates so much dysfunction. I was listening to, I'm kind of getting myself a little bit amped up for Motley Crue's got that movie that's going to be coming out, and you laugh, but I think it's going to be amazing. And
my husband was rocking a Motley Crue T-shirt.
Was he? Okay.
The other night for his Sleepy Time shirt.
I think it's going to be great because
he's excited too.
Well, they did a movie called The Dirt, or a book called The Dirt, and I was listening to. There's a very well done podcast that this guy's done. It's called Disgraceland. And he's gone into all these different artists and a behind the scenes, and I've listened to the one he has about Tupac and Biggie and things like that. It's very good storytelling, and he gets some information that even, I haven't heard on things like that. And I had just listened to the one he had done on Motley Crue and was talking a little bit about it. I picked up a couple other things, the dynamic of the band, how they got there, and the drugs that they were using and how much sex and the chaos that was happening. And the thing that's crazy about it to me, I was sitting there listening to this and what their days were like, and they're so out of it, and the stories are happening. They were coming out with, and granted, you guys don't like the genre, but if you love the genre, amazing music that was so focused and so on for 3 albums in a row. That's what made them so
charting.
big. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm so
people loved it.
I'm like, how did they ever even strum a chord on the guitar? Because the stories that I was hearing, it just sounded like every morning, noon, and night, it was all kinds of crazy, ridiculous drugs. That how would you even get to the point where you're actually working?
So same thing happened with the Eagles, where it was all cocaine and booze. And in the beginning, I think you can do that because it's new and it's fresh, and you're not doing all that drug and rock and roll stuff is kind of a newer lifestyle. But they got to a point where they were fighting, and I'm talking about the Eagles. They were fighting with each other. They're screaming at each other. Everyone was paranoid. They got to a point where they had to have sober sessions. Nobody in the Eagles could drink. This is when they got older, a little bit more mature, but they had a rule. When they were in the studio, you couldn't crack a beer, you couldn't smoke a joint, couldn't do anything, because everybody would get all fucking drunk and try to kill each other.
I could see that, yeah. And that to me is fascinating, how you get into a place where it's got to be that collaborative. Where you got to come together. And we do, to some extent, doing what we do, but even them, it's greater because a drum riff, or drum beats got to play off this riff, and the lyrics, and it's all got to come together. And if you had anybody that was a little bit off step, how you would put that together?
I mean, heavy drug use daily is it's hard to maintain.
Yeah,
you can probably do it for a while, but it wears on the soul.
Well, they told in the thing that you might find fascinating, the bass player Nikki Sixx, who was out there, how much heroin he did. He did heroin. He died. He was dead on the table, and they brought him back. And he went out and shot up again.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's just, and he had that attitude where he was like, Sid Vicious and all these other guys died from heroin. He's like going,
this is how I'm supposed to go?
Well,
he's like, those guys are pussies. He's like, that was the quote that they used. He walked out. He's like going, he was saying to his buddies, like, what a pussy those guys are. It didn't kill me. And so he thought he had this, a rock god kind of thing when you have everybody that, when everyone wants to sleep with you and you just conquered death, and you're in Motley Crue, like they had you get these godlike complexes that he was like, I'm greater than all these other rock stars because not even drugs can kill me.
And two, that's probably a young person's mentality when
Yes.
you're caught up in the whole the first round.
Yeah, I think
of
he's
it.
sober now. I think Nikki Sixx is
so
very
too.
sober. Yeah, because now all of a sudden, you get older and you're like, all right,
Whoa.
wait, what am I doing? Yeah, but it is fascinating in groups through that haze and everything else that they did, that some of them are creating the greatest music ever known to mankind. You're like, how can you even, I don't even know how you get to put your pants on every day. Like, that seemed like that would be a challenge, just getting dressed, yet somehow this music's coming out.
I heard someone telling a story. It was an interview talking about Don Henley and how he used to, when they weren't playing, and this is when they were at the height, he'd order about 6 or 7 call girls. For the whole day, he'd stay in a hotel room. He would have sex with all of them. He'd have them all bent over. He'd have sex with them. He'd put cocaine on their ass and have sex and not finish and kind of go back on the bed and just watch them and then start the whole thing over again.
What?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, they're fascinating stories. You're just like, wow. And I think that Motley Crue, The Dirt, is going to be, like that. They were just talking about, how they were having sex, how much sex they're having, where they were having sex. Just everywhere.
Motley Crue I expected from, but the Eagles, they're so
Eagles.
peaceful.
A little more peaceful.
More
Yeah.
peaceful.
But I think, too, maybe is that era. I'm sure some stuff is happening now, but it seems like that was an era, too, where that kind of stuff happened. I just don't know if it's the same now, but who knows?
The good old days.
Jeez, wow. Yeah, crazy more of them didn't die.
You're right.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you how resilient people can be. And as much as they do stupid stuff to try to kill themselves, a lot of times you can get so intoxicated and it not kill you. You're like, how?
What
I think everybody's different, too.
They are. Everyone's got different body chemistry. What I find fascinating is all those kind of crazy stories that we're talking about, like the Eagles and Motley Crue, that no one, that they really happened, but they're not publicized. There's got to be so many of
That's
those.
why I'm looking forward to The Dirt. I had the book. I've never read the book. I want to read the book, but I'm looking forward to the movie, too, because I think they're going to really tell some of those like stories. You're just like, wow, that's just, it's absolutely insane. And the one, Vince Neil went out, and I didn't know the story. I knew he had killed a guy. but I didn't know more of the story on it. And they were having this big drugged out party. And I think the guy who was that managed Queen was there, and he was notorious for throwing these massive parties. And so Vince Neil was trying to outdo him, and he had a house on the ocean. And so they got this party going on. Mick Mars, who's the guitar player, is just like, it's over. He's on a drug binge. He's on 5 different drugs. And he's like, I think I'm just going to end it. So he goes walking into the ocean. So they're looking for Mick as he's trying to kill himself in the ocean. They realize that they're out of booze. And so Vince takes this. There's this Swedish band called Hanoi Rocks that is in the States for the first time. And they're like, we're going to show you Swedish bitches how to party. So he grabs the drummer. They go out to go get more booze. Vince Neil wrecks the car, kills the drummer. So imagine this party. All this stuff's going on. Where's Mick? Mick washes up on shore. Vince has just killed a guy. Like, that's just one night partying.
Whoa.
Right. Can you imagine that?
That's some heavy ass.
I really actually can't imagine that. That'd be way too much for me.
But it's just, you're like, and then on top of it, you're on a massive amount of drugs and you're trying to process what's going on. You're like, wait, what? What just happened? Crazy. So, yeah, so that's kind of the movie's going to be all about that stuff. I got this email from Marisol, said, my friend's camera caught 2 guys going into her backyard and casually switching pants. Talking about some of those cameras that are all over the place. Yes, the pants they were wearing. After switching pants, one of the guys sighs in relief and says, we should have done this hours ago. What's the story on that?
That's funny. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Also, misused phrases. Corey sent us this email.
Kevin, I just can't.
You just can't? Okay.
I just can't.
Actually, I'm going to save that one for later.
Okay.
Got an email here from Megan. Megan tells this interesting story here about her mom, who's always trying to, adapt to popular phrases and things like that, but just can't seem to quite get them right. And Megan said here, my mother somewhere has picked up this new phrase and has proudly been using it whenever and wherever she can. So she's telling me the story the other day about this guy who takes his hard fall, and she says, you should have seen this guy bust his nut. And I'm like, excuse me? And she said, yeah, he was in so much pain. I'm like, Mom, the phrase really doesn't mean what you think it does. Yeah.
Busted nut.
Yeah, you should have seen this guy bust his nut. She's like, wait, what?
You're right, 1 letter.
Yeah.
I guess bust your nuts isn't any better either.
It is better.
It's a little better. I busted my nuts. I just busted a nut. Yeah, it's different.
If you make it plural, I think you take away some of the sex of it.
Agreed.
So there you go. Yes. It'd be a fun topic, actually, if you got parents that are using phrases wrong. Maybe we can do that tomorrow on the show.
No one wants to think that their mom's watching people bust a nut.
Oh, gosh.
So you should have seen this guy bust his nut. Wait, what?
What a horrible term that is.
You got to look away right before he busts a nut.
Busted nut's so just visual and vulgar. Oh, busted a nut. Terrible.
Serene sent in an email, said, I got a dilemma. My BFF of 8 years is mad at me. Aww. But I really don't think she has any reason to be. Yesterday, I posted on my Snapchat that I'm going to Hawaii this year. And I took it down before I thought anybody had seen it. But my BFF saw it over a friend's shoulder and thought I had blocked her from seeing it when she went to go check on her own phone. By that time, it was deleted. She and I have spoken about going to Hawaii for the last 2 years, but every time I try to make it actually happen, there was always an excuse about school or money or wanting this or person to come with, all sorts of stuff. Well, when she saw that I was going, my BFF started freaking out and telling our other friend that she was so angry I was going and that she was annoyed that I'm always traveling without her, even though she takes trips with her family about 4 times a year. So my trip to Hawaii was a surprise from my mom for my sister and I. And it's going to be our first real family trip since Dad left us 4 years ago. So it's really special for me. I've had issues with her being jealous of my other friendships in the past. Most recently, she got annoyed that I went to New Mexico to visit a friend who'd been in a car accident because we spent 2 days in LA together. But her being mad that I'm going to my dream destination with my family might just be too much for me. The way my friend described how she got super heated and frantic sounded crazy. And my BFF actually called me right after and was acting like she was mad at me, asking if anything new had happened lately. She's been really weird and quiet, apparently waiting for me to confess or to apologize. Before all this happened, we booked a gals weekend at Miami Beach for this weekend, and our other friend has already dropped out because she was so put off by the way my BFF had acted. So now, I don't know how she's going to act this weekend. Is her behavior forgivable? I know I shouldn't feel guilty, but I sort of do. I don't want to break up with my BFF, but what should I do in this situation?
You got to call out bad behavior, and this is definitely bad behavior. She's making herself unlikable, and you got to tell her that. Like, why are you doing this? You're turning me off. You're turning our other friends off. You're acting needy and high maintenance, and we want an easy breezy, loving friendship. Nobody wants to be friends with a chick that's all drama and maintenance.
Yeah.
It's not fun. But if you don't call it out, then you are enabling it. And she might not even realize how bad it is. She might just think that, this is how she shows you that she wants to be with you.
Yeah. I think, too, with any of us and with anyone that we have in our life that we deal with, I mean, I think that, you set the standards for how you're going to be treated.
It's true.
And you're just like, I don't know what's going on with you, but my mom had booked this trip. It means a lot to me. If you can't be happy for me, or even worse, you're going to be angry with me, then I'm sorry. I can't control your feelings. If that's what you feel, fine. It's not going to change my behavior.
And you don't owe her any deletion of the post because you're going on this trip. The fact that you deleted it because you're afraid of her, that's ridiculous.
I think you should always do things that you can stand up and be accountable for.
And it sounds like you have.
Yeah, and if you're living that way and everything you do, you're like, go ahead, call me out, but I'm going to stand my ground. It's something I believe in. You don't have to like it. I'm not going to do everything in life that you're going to like, but this is what I'm going to do. And if you don't like it, then you decide if you want to still be in my life or not, but I'm going to do this regardless of
I'm
your
going
thoughts.
to do this, and I'm also not going to tolerate your bad behavior.
Yeah.
So cut it out, or we can't hang out.
Right. That's it. Somebody's saying, Matt, want to know, I didn't hear you guys say you almost dropped something on the building manager's head, but is that the reason why he doesn't like you guys?
Yes.
It's one of many.
It's one of them.
That was the kind of the ending one. That was the last one that really caused the drama.
Yeah, there were things. I mean, his job is to guard the building, and he's very uptight about it. And, we had years ago, and they did the running with the bulls, or Shark Week they had done. And instead, we did Goat Week, and so we had a bunch of baby goats running around up here, and he did not like that. And
it was the thing that we did. We did a thing when we first got to RMF where we had a big structure out in the parking lot. I forget exactly what we were doing, but it was big, it was inflatable, and it took them an hour and a half to set up. We got it from Port St. Lucie, and he told me in the middle of the bit that we had to stop doing it. We weren't able to do it, and I was being a little goofy on the air with him, just because I was on the air. I was saying, hey, Kev, this guy, he was mad, and then he wouldn't talk to me.
It was something, you were jumping off of or something like that, wasn't it?
And he told me we couldn't do it, and I thought it was kind of ridiculous because we're going to be out of there in 5 minutes, and it wasn't hurting anybody, and nothing bad was going to happen.
Yeah, I think we've done a lot, and I think he's done a lot. But it's one of those relationships that I don't think will ever be repaired.
I think it could be repaired, to be quite honest. I really do.
Have you looked in his eyes?
That's why it won't be repaired, because of Virginia. Because it could be repaired, but I don't think Mama wants to let it go.
We're going to have to go over his head to the actual owner of the building and just bypass this clown altogether.
Again, that's why it won't be repaired. Clown, those kind of terms.
Yeah.
I meant it in the kindest way.
Go over his head for on what?
Whatever we want to do. I know that there's a ban currently on us being able to do any fun stuff in the parking lot, on the premises.
I understand a lot of that, but
smiling is prohibited.
I think there are some things we could do that no one's going to have a problem with, but it's now under the umbrella of, KVJ can't do it because they're going to do or fuck something up. There are things we could do that's not...
Well, we've been warned now. If we get in trouble with the building manager and the building owner is upset, then they're going to kick the whole group of radio stations out because of us.
And again, I don't know how much of that is trying to scare us, just to keep us in line.
Right.
But I feel like if we could get to the owner... He seems like a sensible guy, a snappy dresser. I think we could talk to that guy.
Well, that's coming from him. I mean, the building manager doesn't have the authority to kick out
I feel like if
a whole floor full of tenants.
I feel like if
so
we were...
that's coming from the guy you think is so reasonable.
I would like to speak
not
to
that
him.
he's not.
I would like to speak to him face to face and not with this hearsay of, oh, you guys are going to get kicked out.
I would like to try to be nice to the building manager and try to work it out with the guy who does not like us and the owner. Why not try to get both of them on our side? Power of pizza, baby. Food always works. We haven't even tried to make this relationship work. We haven't.
right. Yeah.
Am I wrong on that?
We have not tried.
Okay. But things like clown and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to...
Comments, yeah.
Definitely.
Well, probably what had happened was it was just, we'd always been the 800-pound gorilla where we were able to do whatever we wanted to do at our old buildings, plural, and we did them. And, it's a new litigious age, and, having any of those things probably was... a liability that they didn't want to take on. And so probably just the tone in which he handled it. And we bulldozed our way through it like the 800-pound gorilla. And then he came off abrasive. And then, abrasive versus abrasive becomes contentious.
That guy's been a jerk to a lot more people than just us in this building.
But I don't care
if you
about-
ask around, it's an attitude.
At the end of the day, I just want to do bits in the parking lot. I just want to be able to do some extra stuff in there.
I hear you.
We have done a terrible job. I'm not calling out anyone individually. A terrible job of trying to make it right, in my opinion. Clown.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. If you want something to happen,
there you go.
to the top.
There.
We got to talk to the owner of the building.
Your Honor,
It's just unfortunate that there are so many respectable businesses in this building. Everywhere else we've worked, it's kind of just been like one radio station or,
for the most
a few
part,
radio
yeah.
stations. There's lawyers here. There's like
They
doctors'
gotta worry about other
office.
people complaining.
Yeah, this place is too fancy for our kind.
well, there's parts of the parking lot where it could work, depending on what the bit is. I'm not saying it like
Right.
our paintball duel in the parking lot, probably not our best idea as far as, keeping or being cool with
the day you busted a nut.
I busted a nut,
You did
literally.
bust a nut, yeah.
And it was not a fun one.
Yeah.
Never been the same.
Hey, say that out loud. Virginia helped me bust a nut.
But Virginia gave me a permanent scar on my private parts.
Do you really?
Hell yes.
Yeah. Was it a cut or was it
Well, yeah, it got a little bit of the way my jeans had my nards is my nard and peen were very close to one another. You hit both of them somehow.
Prove it.
You don't want that. No one wants that.
No one wants that.
Put that scar on KVJ TV.
No.
Yeah, so that's kind of where it's been. There's just been a lot of chapters in it, a lot of layers on this onion. And, no one has ever taken the step either way to try to, reverse it. And maybe, if we did, maybe if there was a kind gesture and saying, is there a way when we have an idea, because this is what we do, are there some guidelines that could help us do something that would be approved?
I think a peaceful
Yeah.
approach would be the right way to go. But
Maybe we need a summit.
what the shit do I know?
Yeah.
Well, don't send me then.
Well,
Yeah.
no shit.
Yeah,
Don't
Virginia's-
send you in for anything.
Right.
That's not true.
Virginia's not typically our ambassador.
Yeah, we send you in for a riot. That's what we do.
Got this email, said I got a two-part question. It's the first time we're taking the Bright Line over to Fort Lauderdale from West Palm, and I saw that Rock Burger joint, so we're definitely going to go there. But when I pulled up to the West Palm station, all the pics on the maps look like it's still under construction. So my question is it finished? And what else can we go do for a romantic evening? Love you guys. Always make my mornings great. On the podcast about the burpees and push-ups, can we get Jaybird to do 10 burpees? Love Jennifer and Jose in Green Acres. Yeah, the West Palm station is completed. It is fine. I don't know if they're still working on it. I thought they were completely done with it.
She's saying some burger restaurant? Is that what?
Rock Burger. Rock Burger, if you go down, they've got a location in Himmershey down there in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And so that might be what you're looking at. So, you can go down there. Himmershey District is really cool. I like that area a lot. I think it's better at night. It's kind of quiet during the day. It's more of a nighttime district. But there's a lot of great places. Las Olas is fantastic. I love going down there. And they've got a couple good breweries in Fort Lauderdale. And yeah, so there's a ton of great stuff to see and do there. Depending upon what your thing is. You can take a water taxi out on the New River and go check out some sites there. That's kind of fun.
If you want to head out west of Davie, they got some good buffets. Not sure what kind of game you're looking for.
The romantic destination of Davie.
Oh, man.
Not only is it far, but it's miserable.
It's not the best town. Nothing against the good people over there, Davie. It's not y'all fault.
So there you go. Let me see here. Got Therese had sent in a photo. She's like, hey, here you go. I know you guys are adding to it. Going to put together a collage. Jaber with his nut hugging.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my gosh.
See them nuts right there. Look at that.
Holy ball sack, Batman.
That is offensive. Oh
Yeah.
my
Japer.
How did I not get tased that day? Oh my god!
Look at that.
I missed that Chewbacca onesie. I gotta
Was
bring that bitch back.
the live podcast we did at Copper Blues?
That was the last show of the year.
Yeah.
I'm saying a theme. The last show of the year is always a shit show.
Boy, look at that. Look at that thing, huh? I mean, that's very pronounced there.
Whoa.
My goodness.
I mean, it looks like you got a massive dick. Why? How?
It's because I don't think that's an adult onesie. I'm patting my staff.
It's a youth medium.
I think it's a youth large. I'm not kidding.
We need to do a caption contest with this photo.
That really is a remarkable photo.
Has that been photoshopped, or you really walked around like
No,
that?
I really walked around like that. I remember
Oh,
those.
that is unbelievable. Oh my gosh, look at his. I mean, the whole area.
And you can tell I am so happy and buzzed right there. I'm having a great
Look at her.
time.
You're having a blast. With all your business hanging out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a youth large onesie.
It's
Wow.
mesmerizing. I can't stop looking at your dick.
We got to put that as a capture contest. I agree. It's
Wow.
gonna get mean though.
That's from 2015. All right, so we'll post that up today.
Boy, it really shows up on KVJ TV.
Oh, it pops, doesn't it?
popping.
Dang.
They
Oof.
poke you in the eye.
Dang. Happy 2-year anniversary, almost 7 years together from Jessica. And remember them, we had them on the Zamboni matrimony.
Oh yeah.
Yep, remember them? They're the first couple that we had married. There they go. They got a baby girl now.
Aw,
Very nice
so
couple.
sweet.
Yep, and sad to say we've done 2 couples on the Zamboni matrimony, and I guess the Florida Panthers got rid of the Zamboni that we used to put everybody on.
Oh, nuts.
Right around on.
We
So-
tried to book it for this year. We called them up all excited, and they said they sold that big Zamboni. They don't have it anymore where it had all the people that could fit on it.
Yeah, that thing was awesome.
I guess they got a new streamlined small one nobody can ride on.
Or they just saying they didn't find the Zamboni and they don't
That could be it too.
Don't know. Either way, there's not going to be a Zamboni matrimony this year.
Not
Damn
with
it.
us anyway. Now, if somebody else does it, I'll
Oh.
be pissed.
That was a cool little prize, though.
I know.
You got fed. You brought your family.
They gave a whole box suite to
Mm-hmm.
the family and made it a whole party, and you were up there with your family. Like, that was a
I was up
high
there,
fancy
yeah.
falutin right there.
Yeah, I was up there with our family last year, and man, it was really cool.
Gorgeous.
Yep, way to do it. Also, can Fort Ocean get a happy anniversary shout out next week, and maybe tell the people we're celebrating with a beach cleanup at Spanish River Park in Boca on Saturday, the 19th, coming up this Saturday.
Those Four Ocean folks, they're doing wonderful stuff. They really are an awesome charitable organization.
What kind of stuff do they do, Virginia?
Lots of beach cleanup stuff, lots of caring for the environment. They go not just on the beach, they go out in the ocean itself in boats. And they pick up a lot of trash that's out there, they save a lot of animals.
That's very nice.
They are super, super cool people, and they're doing a great job of marketing themselves because they're getting a lot of recognition.
Good. That's good. They
Yes.
should. Well, there you go. So
Four Ocean killing it.
something you can do this weekend. All right. Well, there you go. That is going to do it for us for Monday. Thank you all for locking in. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.